The vibe. It's a Friday. The Hoop Genius podcast, sponsored by NBA 2K22. I am Mo Moonsey. Alongside me, as always, real name, no gimmicks. The one, the only, three-time NBA champion, Mr. BJ Armstrong. BJ, how you feeling? The regular season's almost come to an end.
Yeah, it's here. It is. It's ending. Season is over. And now it's time. The people want to hear the truth, Mo, and they said, you can't handle the truth, Mo.
Okay, so here's the first thing I want to say is just think about how long ago the start of the season feels like. Think about how long ago that feels, and then think about how long we've been doing this. This is episode number 70. We should have got D-Book for episode number 70, but guess what?
We should have.
They didn't win the game when he scored 70, so we don't have D-Book. Just kidding.
Oh, gosh.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Gosh.
He didn't pick up my call to get him on the show because I don't have his number. So here we are. You're rocking with me. You're rocking with BJ. We're answering the questions, and there is a lot of questions coming in. And to keep it fair, we're going to go through in chronological order. So the people who were the quickest to reply get the priority, and they get the questions in first. So the first one comes in from Mr. Brad Denny. He says, which team in the Western Conference is capable of beating the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs? In his opinion, it's Dallas because of Luka, or Memphis if Ja is fit. What do you reckon, BJ and Mo? BJ, I don't think anyone can beat the Phoenix Suns. But if you had to say someone that could, who is the one team that you think could knock them off?
This may shock you a little bit, Mo. I think if they are healthy.
If you say Utah, I'm ending this podcast right now.
Okay. Well, we don't have to worry about ending the podcast.
Okay, thank God.
Okay. But I really believe, because of the way they play against this team, that they think they can beat the Phoenix Suns if healthy. And that's the Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
They really believe they can beat them. And they feel they match up against them. They like their matchups. Steph Curry versus Chris Paul. Klay Thompson versus Devin Booker.
Draymond versus everyone.
Draymond versus Draymond. I don't know if he's going to guard Chris Paul in that series or he's going to play the center position. And then you have these young players, Jordan Poole, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges.
The Warriors are the Warriors are kind of deep. Like they have.
No, they're not kind of deep. The Warriors are deep.
But what I'm saying is, in playoffs they shorten their rotations. But what the Warriors can do is they can go depending on. So if they need defense, if Devin Booker catches fire, they can throw Gary Payton the second in. If they need a burst of offense, they can throw Kuminga in to outrun the older Phoenix Suns. So my thing is, I think the Warriors can beat them. It all depends on DeAndre. This is where DeAndre Ayton is going to make his money, because that is the deciding factor. Because the weakness that the Warriors have, they don't have size. If he can dominate that series as a 7-foot should, I think that's the difference in it. But I think out of anyone, the Warriors have the best chance.
I think, and Phoenix has shown this in a couple of the games now, that they don't go with their normal rotations, only versus the Golden State Warriors.
Yes. But we got to wait to see. I hope that they can meet in the Western Conference Finals, but it's looking like they're meeting the second round if the Warriors get through to that. But and next question, we've got to run through these quick because there's so many. Pierce McGlinchey says, shout out to Pierce, he always sends in questions. Will we see another three-peat anytime in the near future? If so, which team would be most likely to achieve this? So, BJ, if the Milwaukee Bucks repeat as champions this year, how do you like their chances for a three-peat?
I'm telling you, this guy Giannis, I'm not putting anything past him.
Say no more.
I'm just going to sit back and watch. Do I think we'll see it? Absolutely, we'll see it again. Now, when is it going to happen? If you're asking me, I think Giannis now has the best chance.
I hear you. I'm the same as you. Ronan O'Callaghan says, given his huge improvement this year, is Grant Williams now a legitimate option for a long-term starting power forward for the Celtics, or do they need to go looking elsewhere to replace Horford? I'm going to tell you this. Grant Williams is more than capable of taking over from Al Horford when he retires because he is learning from Al Horford every day. Right now, this second, maybe not, but he is absorbing all of that information from Uncle Al. Defensively, his positioning has much improved. I don't think he's as good as Horford, but he's getting better. And offensively, his shooting has been off the charts this year. He's been 50% from three, 9% from the line in the fourth quarters. He's been huge. I used to think he was a liability last year. This season, I think he's huge. And when Al's contract comes off the books, he will take a little bit less money to stay with the team if all goes well. And Grant will get a little bit more money. So I think it might work out perfectly, or it might not, but I'm pretty pleased with it. BJ, any take on Grant Williams?
Al is proven in the playoffs. He's battle tested.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to wait to see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Do I like the improvement? Do I like what I've seen in the regular season? Yes, but I need to see more.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to see his body of work when it matters most before I can really make that determination. And, and hopefully he will contribute to them making a deep run. But if not, then I think we'll have to look elsewhere.
Nickel Lau wants to know, did the Pelicans win the Anthony Davis trade? Brandon Ingram's getting better every week. All the young stars on the roster, potentially taking the Lakers first round next season. The future is bright in New Orleans, opposite to what's happening at the Lakers. So here's my thing, is the winners and the losers of the trade, the Lakers have won a championship. The Pelicans haven't even made the playoffs, okay? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We can't decide the winner or the loser of the trade until every player involved in the trade is off the teams. And even then, if they were to trade Brandon Ingram, that's a knock-on effect from that trade. I think it's impossible to say a winner or a loser of the trade. Do I think the Pelicans are in a better position than the Lakers right now? 100% unquestionably. The future is much brighter for the New Orleans Pelicans, especially when they get Zion back. They've been playing great basketball. They've made great acquisitions. And I think they're in a good spot. The Lakers, on the other hand, are in a terrible spot, but the Lakers own the bubble championship. If you want to count it, if you don't want to count it, I don't care. But they won a championship when it's all said and done. They traded for AD, and now he's going to be a champion in a Lakers jersey. So I don't know if you want to call it a winner or a loser, but I don't think the Lakers see it as a loss, and I don't think the Pelicans see it as a loss. Maybe it just worked out for them both.
Well, the Lakers hung another banner. How many banners do they have up there now, Mo?
I think that was their 12th. Oh, they've got 5 that they imported from Minneapolis. But anyway, we're going to move on. MCFC Will wants to know, if the Clippers were to get Kawhi and Norman Powell back for the second round at the latest, can they make a realistic push to come out of the West?
No.
No?
No.
If the Kawhi Leonard comes back for the second round,
no,
I think they could win a second round series.
No.
It's Kawhi Leonard. He's been resting the whole year. I have no idea on his injury status, though. Like, I have absolutely no idea.
These guys have like ACL injuries.
Paul George came back in and dropped. To be fair, he had an elbow injury. He came in and dropped 39.
Yeah, Mo.
Yeah, the ACL. Yeah, come on. Yeah.
I mean,
I feel you.
I
feel you. But anything can happen. Like, we didn't
anticipate.
The Clippers winning without Kawhi Leonard last year against the Jazz. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they get Kawhi and Norman Powell back.
Well, we should have known because it was the Jazz. We should have known because it was the Jazz. So we should have known that. The Jazz, for whatever reason.
Next question comes in from Tribe. He says, where do you think Jokic's ceiling is in terms of the best centers of all time? His current top 5 is Kareem, Russell, Shaq, Wilt, and Hakeem. And he says, if Jokic wins chips and has the best case scenario career, I can see him getting to 4th place behind Shaq, maybe higher. No, there is no way we can compare Nikola Jokic in the year 2022 to Wilt Chamberlain. I don't have a list of all-time centers because show me footage of Wilt Chamberlain playing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, it's out there.
No, but Wilt Chamberlain playing an 82-game season with a 3-point line, with this and with that. It's impossible. Like, it's impossible for anyone to tell me Nikola Jokic is better than Wilt Chamberlain. You have no idea. No one does, okay? I have my favorite centers of all time, but I think you can rank generations. Okay, Jokic can be the best center of this generation, but it's impossible to compare him to Bill Russell. It's impossible to compare him to Kareem. Like, I'm not a fan of these all-time.
I don't even know. Well, I don't even know this. I want to sorry to cut you off, but I want to say this. I don't know if I can call him the best center of all time, even in this generation.
Jokic.
And the reason Jokic. And the reason being is because the center position, as I view it, is not what Jokic does.
He's a point guard.
Like
I said yesterday, the slowest point guard of all time.
Jokic is not like what I traditionally think of as a center. Just like today when you say Steph Curry is a point guard. Well, we don't know what to call it yet, but Steph Curry is not a point guard. Damian Lillard is not a point guard.
That's what I'm saying.
John Morant.
This era of the NBA is on its own. You know, we've talked about modern era and whatever, but that's why it's impossible. Like, but the other thing as well is like Will and Bill Russell were on this guy's top 5 list. They were going up against each other. Who's Jokic going up against? Like outside of Embiid, which 5 in the NBA is really a challenge? He ain't going up against Ben Wallace. He's not going up against, Bill Laimbeer. It's like, okay.
He is
a great player. No doubt. He's an amazing talent.
Like if I saw you, because I saw all these guys, right? So, I'm saying I saw all of these players play up close, but I played against many of them. Like Kareem, no. Patrick Ewing, no. Shaq, no. Tim Duncan. I mean, like if you put Tim Duncan in this era, as you were saying that, I was like, wow, like he would probably be a different player than he was in the era that he played in.
Or put prime Shaq in this era with who's guarding him. Who's guarding prime Shaq? No one.
That's what I'm saying. Like all these guys, whether it's. So I'm just saying there were some pretty good players. Brad Daugherty, for instance. You may not know that name. Brad Daugherty was an all-star. Pretty good. He might not have been as good a passer as Jokic, but he was pretty good. He was pretty darn good. So Jokic he's a player. I don't know what he is.
No, but I don't want to take away from Jokic, right? I don't want to take away.
No, we can't take. No.
He's an amazing talent. But I just don't like these all-time lists because you know what I'm saying? The best point guard of all time, the best whatever. Like, come on. Yeah. Can Jokic close out his career as the best center of this generation? If you want to call him a center, yeah, sure. But I can't compare these guys. But Alex,
I'll say this: he's one of the best 7-footers.
Yes, there we go. And I think he's the best passing 7-footer that I've seen. So,
yes.
Andrew LaVenture says Jokic MVP not even close. Well, we discussed that on Wednesday's show. If you haven't heard that, go check that out for the MVP conversation. James O'Toole or O'Toole, once again, let me know your name, how to pronounce it. But he says, loving the podcast each morning, guys. Best in the game for sure. What more does Taylor Jenkins have to do to win Coach of the Year? Can we finally give him the award? And are we closer to getting hands on some merch? Well, we discussed Taylor Jenkins and BJ's pretty adamant on Monty Williams. I think Taylor Jenkins should be Coach of the Year. And merch-wise, stay tuned. I said when our audience doubles from when that question was first asked, it's grown. It still ain't doubled. So you guys need to spread the word of the show, and then you can get your merch. So I want to say this. My take on. I want to give a shout out to our good friend over there in Boston for some coaching. Ime Udoka, yes. Ime Udoka. Okay, the Boston Celtics have been the best team in 2022. Tell him again. Okay, tell him again. It's hard for me to say that, but it's the truth. In 2022, the Boston Celtics have been the best team. He may not be the coach of the year and get the votes, but he has done one incredible job from start to finish. That's all I want to say. Yes, he has indeed. Matthew McDonald says, is Fred VanVleet one of the most underrated players in the league? No, because he was an all-star. Should he be traded to a serious contender or put pieces around him at Toronto? I think Toronto are closer to being contenders than people are aware of. I'd agree with that. I would agree with that, Mo. You know what I mean? They are under the radar. They can compete right now on any given night with their team. And I just don't think anyone who's in the all-star game can be called underrated. That's the other thing. Yeah. Like you're an all-star. You're not underrated. Yeah, he is. Fred VanVleet. If I were a player today, there are two players that I say
I would pattern my game after. Fred
Freddie.
VanVleet is one, and CJ McCollum. That's who I think I would. Those two guys.
Nero wants to know, no one should be surprised at a first round Warriors exit. And I'm going to be honest, if they're not healthy and playing like this, I would not be surprised at all, because at the moment they're the 3 seed. But if they slip down to 4th and have to play Denver in that 4-5 matchup without Steph and with all these other injuries, I think they could lose. What do you think, BJ?
I think the Warriors will have to benefit where they are currently at as a team with whoever the matchups. The matchups will matter with this team.
Yeah.
There are certain matchups that are just bad matchups for them. Bad matchups for anybody, but in particular them. I think the Denver Nuggets is an awful matchup for them because, as we talked about earlier, they aren't very big up front. And I think Jokic will not be bothered by, and I didn't think Jokic will not be bothered by small ball. Okay. And I think that's an awful matchup for him. And I think Luka Doncic is another bad matchup, in particular for this team. Luka's a bad matchup for everybody. Yeah. But now, because you just can't put Wiggins in these, they're not big enough to play against him. And I don't think that's a good matchup for Draymond.
He can't do it all. Like, no.
Well, because that's going to put Draymond in the play. He's going to be in the. He can't. He's
best at clearing up mess and telling everyone where to be and what to do, and then helping.
But Wiggins and Peyton, they're just not big enough for him. So, and I think those are two bad matchups for them.
Chris wants to know, should the Lakers trade LeBron? He thinks yes. And if so, what does his trade value look like? I don't think the Lakers can trade LeBron unless LeBron says he wants to be traded, and then he'll trade himself to wherever he wants to go. I don't think there's a world where the Lakers just say, LeBron, pack your bags, you're gone, mate. I don't see it happening.
Okay. I'm going to say this without saying it. I'm going to say this without saying it. Okay. I think we all know what needs to happen in LA, but no one wants to say it.
Yeah. But it's the politics of the game.
Okay. So we're not going to say it because I don't want it to get misconstrued that here on this podcast that we are saying that. Okay. So I'm going to be very careful with my words because honestly, I'm just saying what I see. What I think is going to happen, okay, is they are going to have to come back with this team as is. They're big 3 guys.
Yeah.
The reason being is I don't see currently a team, and maybe there is a team, that's going to take Russell Westbrook and that salary for 1 year.
Anthony Davis said if they were healthy, they would be in the playoffs and it would be all good. So run it back.
Okay. Anthony Davis, we would hope, would, be healthy for the following year. Maybe this is just one of those years. Okay. Now, I don't know what that means. They are a year older. Okay, Mo. I don't know what that means, but I don't see any significant moves that they can make unless they are open to an alternative solution, which is looking at, building for the future. Let's just leave it at that, Mo. It'll be fascinating to see what's going to happen. I think they're going to probably get
I think the only trade is John Wall for Russell Westbrook because John Wall is clutch sports and you know how all that goes. But yeah, they got to run it back.
I know.
They got to run it back. All right, let's keep going. Chris Rose always asks great questions. Shout out to everyone who asks questions, man. We appreciate all of you guys engaging with us. Chris Rose says, should there be an all-improved team as part of the end of season awards? Nearly all the awards have corresponding teams. So MVP has all NBA, defense players all defense. So should the most improved player get it? Now, I don't know, BJ, whether I'm getting really old or whether this hunger during Ramadan is just making me really grumpy. I think there's too many awards. Like, what do we need a most improved team for? I get it. It's great. But then it kind of waters down the prestige of winning the most improved player of the year award. You feel me? Like, okay, we have an all rookie team, but so what? Like, I think that's mostly to do with contracts and all that kind of stuff. But
so what's your question? What's the question?
He says, should there be an all improved team as part of the end of the season awards?
Or an all improved team? No, I don't think so.
I feel like a grumpy old man.
To be honest with you, isn't that your job? Like,
to improve. Like, you get paid millions of dollars. You have the best trainers in the world, the best medical stuff in the world. If you got worse, then that's the issue. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, I'm just saying.
Connor O'Neill wants to know, what would the trade package look like for Gobert going to Dallas? Now, I tweeted this out last night, and I've not yet seen a reply that makes sense to me. I don't see the Dallas Mavericks having enough stuff that because everyone loves to do this. This is how NBA fans work. They go to the trade machine website, they put in the player they want. So they put in Gobert. Gobert makes 30 million, for example. And then they pick players on the Mavericks who add up to 30 million that they don't want. So Tim Hardaway, and we'll give Brunson this much money to make it work. And we'll give them to Utah, and then we'll give them as many picks as they want. And that's not how trades work in the NBA, unfortunately. I don't currently see a trade package that works for the Utah Jazz to get in return for a 3-time defensive player of the year and multiple-time All-Star Rudy Gobert.
I see it working. I see it working if they can put together another team, a 3 for a 3 or 4 team deal. Okay.
Yes.
What I don't see is Danny Ainge trading Rudy Gobert to a Western Conference team, which is going to have a direct effect on him.
Yeah, and it's not like when he traded Garnett and Pierce, who are at the end of their careers, to Brooklyn for all the draft picks in the world. This is Rudy Gobert is now going to block all of your team shots for the next 5 years at least. Yeah.
So I don't see that happening. You know, you can't forget Luka's only 22. So if Rudy is going to be traded, it'll be a 3 or 4 team deal, or he'll get traded and then that team will move him on, because I don't think Danny Ainge, in his best interest, would move him there. So if he does get traded, I'd see him going to some place like the Celtics.
No.
That's where I see Rudy Gobert. I see Rudy Gobert going to a team like that.
I rebuke that.
Oh no, that's where he'll go. He'll go to some place like that.
No, thank you. I like Toronto for Rudy, for the record. Rob Rush wants to know who the Celtics should target in the offseason. The answer is not Rudy Gobert. The answer is no one. Target improvement within the squad. They've got a great squad. They just need a few more pieces on their bench.
I think the Celtics, if things hold true to how the game is played, the Celtics need a player who can play downhill at that point guard position. I'll keep saying that because they don't have a player who can play downhill. And you have to have him. Like, if you're going to be a good team, you have to play downhill.
Okay.
You have to have a player who can create chaos, play in screen roll,
I think,
attack the rim, draw and kick, and all those things. I think. But again, we'll see. I mean, they've been winning. So, as they say, Mo, winning covers a multitude of sins.
There we go. Now, the opposite of that, our good friend Jack has sent in a question.
Oh, I love Jack.
He says, will the pain ever end? 16 years, crying emoji.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it will. It will end.
It will not.
It will end. It will end.
Not. When? Do you think the Kings make the playoffs next year?
Depends on who they draft.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, Mo, the way I look at it is this. Which teams in the West are going to drop out of the playoff spots? Because they got to take someone's spot. I don't see any of them dropping down. I see a lot of them
every year
improving.
Okay, you have 3 choices every year. You're going to improve, you're going to get worse, or or stay the same. Now, one of those 3 things are going to happen. Very rarely do you stay the same. Very rarely. So the Sacramento Kings, like everyone else, they are one player away from improving their chances. And it's going to end. Now, if you look at the Kings, listen, wherever you see that great player at, I don't care where he comes from, right? You know, you hear me say this all the time, Mo. There's 4 ways to improve: the draft, free agency, trade, or from within. I don't care where he comes from. When you see that great player, you just got to get him.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, if the Sacramento Kings would have drafted Luka Doncic, that one player just changes your projection just because, he's a great player. He can erase all the mistakes. So there will be great players. And when you see that great player, you just got to get him. And I think right now, with, their front office, Joe Dumars in particular, I think he understands that. I couldn't speak before Vladdy and those guys were good friends of mine. Okay. And Peja Stoyak, I think Peja was there.
He's still there? Is he not still there?
Yeah, they may be. They may, those guys are there. But I know Joe Dumars is there. And I think you can kind of tell what they're doing there now. They have to me, they have some good pieces. I know people up there in Sacramento aren't getting the results they want, but I like the pieces that they have up there.
Okay.
And I just think they are one player. I think they are a player or two away.
I think every team in the league is a player or two away.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. So
Mark Reese wants to know, who would you make for your All-Star Europe versus USA teams from this season in the NBA? I think that's one we can tackle in the offseason. We could do a whole episode on that. He says, if we assume also, he has like 3 questions in one. If we assume the Time Lord misses the playoffs, have the Celtics got enough depth to progress if Tatum or Brown also got injured? No, is the answer. And he says, we still need snapbacks. Mark, I said it before and I'll say it again. Whenever the first week was that you guys asked for merch, I said we got to double the audience. We're close, but we're not there yet. So I need everyone listening to tell another basketball fan who doesn't currently listen to the show to tune in. Once that happens, you guys can get all the merch. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah. I want to say something real quick because we got to be real careful how we identify players. We keep saying like, oh, this player is from, Europe. This player is from America. In the NBA, for instance, it's the world game now.
Yes.
It's the best. I think when you look at the game, you're saying, I want to play against the best players in the world. I don't care where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes the NBA game fascinating is all of these players from wherever they're at, they put their spin on the game.
Yeah.
This isn't like European basketball played in the NBA.
No.
That's not how it works. This is the very best game. Like Jokic, I don't care where he's from. I don't care where Luka is from. I don't care where Joel they're the best players in the world. And we're all meeting up here who happens to be from places. So, I think now I think it's time to look at the game and say, this is a global game. And that's one thing that I've learned growing up here in the States is represent where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
Represent where you're from. But I think the days now of saying Europe, if you want to say European basketball, I always think of FIBA.
Yeah, EuroLeague. We're gonna do it. Yeah, we'll do an episode on this. We've got so many questions we've got to push through. Connor Watson wants to know, where did the Jazz go from here if they get bounced in the first round? We did a whole episode almost about the Jazz earlier this week. Make sure you go and check that one out. Because we went deep on the Jazz. I'm sure we'll talk about them again when they do lose in the playoffs. And how deep the West is getting. The Pelicans and Clippers come back next year. Yeah, the West is going to be great next year. GA34, once again, not Giannis's burner account. Although sometimes I wish Giannis did listen to the show because the amount of love we give him, I think it would put a smile on his face. This is a question that I also have, and I've been meaning to ask BJ this, so I'm going to put him on the spot right now and ask him, are there plans to carry on the podcast in the offseason? We need our fix of the Hoop Genius podcast. BJ, we're going to be giving the people what they want all the way through.
Mo, can't stop, won't stop. I don't even know what stop means.
That's facts. And the other thing he said, we need an OG Anunoby special guest appearance.
Yes, we do.
I'm going to have to holler at OG. We need that UK connection. I chopped up with him. When did I last speak to? Like 6 months ago. He doesn't do a lot of media stuff. I chopped up with him a few months ago. I'm just
Hey,
glad to see him healthy back on the court. Let him get this playoff run out of the
yes.
way, and then we'll see what we can do. Chesney Lopez says, why is everyone sleeping on the Raptors? Well, when everyone says things like this, it just makes me want to make more content because I feel like, BJ, over here, we're not sleeping on the Raptors. Maybe other outlets are, and we just need to grow even bigger because I feel like a lot of people who fans say is slept on and is underrated, we show love too. We talked about the Raptors even just early in this episode. So
Yes.
why everyone else sleeps on the Raptors? I don't know. I'm not too worried about what other people think because you're rocking with the best. So tune in here for the realness. Dan Franklin always sends in questions. Which player, in brackets, not a current Celtic, sorry, Mo. Okay, cool. Would it most warm your heart to see win a ring and why? Loving the insight and knowledge you guys continue to drop week in, week out. Hope for nothing but big things for you on the back of this excellent podcast. Many thanks. Yo, that's a really sweet message, Dan. Thank you very much, my brother. That is a very, very nice message to read. But BJ, which player would it warm your heart most to see win a ring? For me, Giannis won it last year. I was so happy to see him win. Just because I know how much it means to him and the journey he's been through. I've seen a tweet earlier this week. Giannis' story is better than the stuff you could write in a movie. Like you couldn't make a movie script better than Giannis' life story. But he's already won one. So who would make you the happiest to see winning?
Wow, there's so many players because of his age, and it's coming to the end. It's Carmelo Anthony.
Yes,
I would love to see Melo. Melo, you know what? To see Melo go from a perennial All-Star, a Hall of Fame talent, and figure out how to still contribute coming off the bench, to me, just speaks volumes about him. So, for him to go down this path and this journey where he's at, I think would be great. I would be really happy for him.
One player, I agree with Melo. I think Russell Westbrook as well, but I don't want either of them to win with the Lakers. They can go elsewhere to win. One player I need to see win a championship, even if it's as the 12th man on the roster, is Isaiah Thomas. After everything that guy's been through, even if he doesn't play a minute in the final, I just want him to have a ring.
You guys still feeling guilty there.
Hell yeah. Like
Boston.
Ever since they did that to him, a Celtics player gets injured just before the playoffs every season without fail. But I hope IT can get a championship ring. I also would be very happy to see Joel Embiid win a ring with his journey and what he's been through and the impact that would have on the whole continent of Africa and, his tribulations throughout his career so far. That would also make me happy. But like, I'm happy for everyone to win a ring. There's not a player in the league who I would be unhappy to see win. Like, obviously I make jokes about Paul George and Chris Paul and these guys, but they're great players and they work hard. I'll be happy for anyone to win a championship. It's like to see the hard work these guys put in is amazing. The Philadelphia 76ers fan club in the UK 76ers wants to know, assuming the Sixers re-sign Harden, well, I think it's pretty much a guarantee that they re-sign Harden, right? And fail to win a championship this year, what realistic moves needs to be made in the offseason to get them over the line? Because I think that's a likely scenario. I think the likelihood of that scenario is quite high.
I think a lot about the game and players, and because it's difficult, right? It's easy to get up here and start criticizing, but we're just sitting here on the couch. But I try to be responsible because something is going on with James Harden. I don't know what it is, but something is going on. So but I want to say this because I've been waiting for a Philadelphia 76er question. So great question. I think it's time. What do I think needs to happen if the Philadelphia 76ers are going to win a title? I think it's going to start with James Harden committing to playing different than what he's currently playing.
Different or deep?
I just want to say that. I just want to say he's going to have to commit to playing a totally different game. This style of play and the way he plays, I don't think it's championship level basketball. The isolation, playing that way. I think he's going to have to commit to playing an entirely different way because the way he currently plays, it's easy for defenses in particular to load up against him and the team. And I think if he's going to win a championship, he's going to have to commit to a different style of play. Now, I just want to say that because we can go on and on about what needs to go with him and so forth and so on. But he's going to have to commit to that.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't know how it's going to fare out. I mean, if there was a few injuries and things happen this offseason, Philadelphia 76ers could be in the finals. Chris Rathbone, an amazing artist, wants to know what are the main stylistic differences in terms of gameplay between the regular season and playoff basketball, and which of the current lower seeded teams have a style/game more suited to the playoff style, and as such most likely to cause an upset. Well, because we've got so many questions, I've got to be quick with it. The main style of playoff basketball that's different is it's more half-court orientated, less transition, less running up and down, because teams have time to dig in their heels and prepare, know exactly what the other team's running, know exactly who's going to do what, everyone's tendencies. So the game slows down. That's why you hear people say the game slows down in the playoffs. So yeah, that's my take on it. Which team of a lower seed is the best suited to causing an upset? Well, right now, if you're going to take lower seed, anything lower than 4, the
Toronto Raptors.
You took the words out of my mouth. The Toronto Raptors are a gritty team, and in the half court, if you want to slow the game down in the half court, their length and ability to get in the passing lanes and cause steals, deflection is just havoc. If I was in the NBA, I would have nightmares about playing against that Toronto defense. So that's what we're going to go with for that one. Nick wants to know, BJ, this one's for you. How would you rank against the best modern day one-legged shooters? This is, of course, after you bragged on a previous episode about your one-legged shot.
Well, I didn't brag. I'm just saying. Hey, did you see Kevin Durant shoot that one-leg three?
Yep, against the Hawks.
That was great. I was kind of excited. Actually, my son asked me that same question because that's my go-to for him out in the backyard when we play horse. Just the one-legged, I like to go one-legged off glass though. That's my favorite shot.
I respect it.
How would I fare? The fact that, I never had the guts. No, it's not the right words.
You didn't have the opportunity to take that in the flow of the game.
Well, I didn't know how my coaches would take me taking a one-legged.
Yeah, you got to have, with all due respect to you, right? Kevin Durant can do whatever the hell he wants on that court.
Yeah.
Because Steve Nash is not saying anything to him. Kevin Durant could decide to play the whole game shooting off 1 foot, and guess what? They ain't going to bench him. They ain't going to even say anything because it's Kevin Durant. So I respect the discipline, BJ. Because I see stuff I see like crazy undisciplined things in the NBA, and it reminds me of White Academia. Like when Andrew Bynum just decided to start putting off shooting 3-pointers just for fun. When every time Dwight Howard shoots 3-pointer, it just makes me smile because I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. It's just a different game. It's different. But I can tell you what, though. I mean, I was always hoping that I would catch the ball or get the ball at the end of a quarter, so I had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I respect that because nowadays players catch the ball and they don't shoot to save their field goal percentage.
Yeah.
So I respect the fact that you wanted that. TJ wants to know, if you were going to buy a jersey from another team based purely on the style from this season, which team would you be rocking? Also, which player's jersey, not from your favorite team, would you go for first? So BJ, if you could buy any jersey this season, which jersey do you want?
Mo, I like the traditional uniforms, right? And
so you want a Boston one?
I like the Boston.
I'll send you a Rob Williams jersey.
I like the Boston. Like I have two jerseys that are just like my favorite. Like because I just like the traditional, like simple. That's just classic, right? Boston classic. And I was lucky I played for the Bulls, but I like the
Knicks.
classic.
The Knicks and the Warriors brought back their 75th anniversary jerseys.
And I love those.
I need that San Francisco Warriors. I need the Steph Curry one where he broke the record with 700 and whatever on the back with his name. But go ahead.
Okay, but I'm gonna tell you my favorite jersey are the old Sixers when they just had Phila.
Yeah,
P-H-I.
that's real.
And
That's real play.
I have a Wilt Chamberlain Phila jersey, and I have a Bill Russell jersey, and they are my favorite jerseys. They're just because of the simplicity. You know, it's like
I feel you.
It's not all of this stuff.
On the other hand, my favorite one this season, I love the Brooklyn Nets bringing back the old school New Jersey Nets style. You know, the blue one with the nets on it that like Drazen Petrovic used to wear.
I couldn't stand those.
I like those. God, I want one of those, but I don't know what player to get. I might get something like Patty Mills.
Get Petrovic, Drazen.
Oh no, that's the old school one. I want to get the new one with the diamond tick for the 75th anniversary. It's a different shade of blue as well. I think those are nice. I think the Warriors, the black one with the lightning stripe down the side, that's super nice. Right. My jersey collection is kind of unhealthy. I spend too much money on jerseys, so I'm just trying to think of the ones I don't have at the moment. Yeah, I need that Warriors one, like I said. The not just the black one with the lightning down the side, but the one that Steph broke the record in, the San Francisco one. That's clean. Yeah, there's tons. And which player's jersey would you want? So forget the team and forget the design. Which player's jersey would you want?
What I want?
Yeah, from this season.
Giannis. I want to get a Giannis. If what I think I'm looking at, I just think he's going to be. I think he's going to be an all-time great.
Yes,
I would get I know I talk a lot about him. But you when you see it, you just I don't know what it is, Mo, but you just know it when you see it.
That's the first thing I did. When he scored that 50 in the finals last year, the first thing I did was holler at my boy Elliot, who runs a jersey store. I said, yo, I need this Giannis jersey. Hook me up.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I did.
I want him I have my favorite players. I don't get a lot of them, but these are like my favorite. These here, Kareem, I have.
You got the legends. I've got like everyone's.
I just like.
I got LaMelo Ball. I've got Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum. I've got like Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. I've got most people, not most people, but a lot of people. So this season, if I was going to get a jersey, I want the one I still don't have is Ja Morant jersey. I need a Ja Morant jersey. Okay. That's the one I still don't have because I want the one they had last year, the Vancouver Grizzlies design, and I can't find that anywhere. Elliot from Hoopin' and Luton, Mark from the Throwback Store, both run jersey stores. If either of you are listening, which I think you are, and you can source that jersey for me, holler at your boy. But Chris Healy has sent in a last-minute question. He says, thoughts on doing a postseason episode on building a team, explaining salary caps, trades, lottery deals.
Man.
We're going to be all over that. We're not going to do one episode. We're going to do a series. The off-season, we're going to give you amazing content in the off-season. So just stay ready. Stay subscribed. Thank you all for sending in your questions.
Yeah,
and if we didn't get to your question, it means, I put a tweet out 5 hours ago. So 5 hours, I think, is a reasonable time for you to look at your phone, send in the question. If you didn't get it in, remember to turn on tweet notifications so you can be one of the first people whose question we answer here on the show, as we do this every Friday. BJ, I want you to enjoy this weekend. It's the final weekend of the regular season because after this, even more chaos will ensue. We got the NBA play-in, then we got the NBA playoffs, and then you and I are going to be linking up for the NBA finals.
Mo, I need one thing from you.
Go ahead.
I need 7 days a week. I need 7 days a week.
I know.
I need 7 days. Mo, I need 7 days a week.
I know, but guess what? I need more of the people to subscribe, to review, and to rate. I need to see us higher up in the charts, okay? Because I'm sick and tired of seeing No Dunks and Zach Lowe ahead of us, okay? I need you guys to get us ahead of them. And I love those guys, don't get me wrong. I got a lot of love for them. But I need you guys to represent us and listen to every episode and get us up there. Once we are in that number one spot on the regular, I'm talking about every week. I'm looking at it right now. We slipped down. Draymond Green has appeared ahead of us. Zach Lowe's at number one. And JJ Redick's up there too. Once we overtake them, you can get 7 days a week. How about that? So I'm going to need the people to do what they do best and show some love. Listen to the show, recommend it to their friends, listen
Mo,
to it every day.
Our listeners,
Be
though,
there.
Mo, our listeners,
Yes.
real name, no gimmicks. It's not about the ratings, people. It's the underground listeners, because I know my people listening.
I hear that. I
Mo,
hear that.
Mo,
I hear that.
Mo, my
I hear
people
that.
listening. And you know what, Mo? Like Lil Wayne say, real G's move in silence, like lasagna.
We ain't making silence. We're making noise on this
Mo,
side.
we're not doing this for the ratings. Our fans are real fans.
You make
They're
a good
not even
case.
fans. These are real family members and real people. And you know
make
what,
a good
Mo?
case.
So the ratings, I'm not looking at it because I know my people.
Let me
And
tell you,
the
let me
love.
keep it 100. Let me keep it 100. The reason why I need us to be higher up with more listeners and more all of this and higher up is because I feel selfish. I feel a responsibility that there are so many people out there in the world who are stuck listening to terrible basketball discourse, and we're over here keeping it 100, and they haven't had the chance to discover this show yet. That is why I need to spread it, because I feel it's a duty to NBA fans around the world to let them all in on this little secret that our listeners have of this daily show. Because I know once people listen, they're going to be rocking here with us all the time. And I just feel bad that I go on the Twitter timeline every day and they're listening to certain people talking nonsense on certain TV shows. No names
Mo,
mentioned. We just got to spread the love. We got to grow the family.
Listening. If what we're saying is true, all great coaches, all great teams, they always look for what? The experienced player. It's just going to take them a little time, Mo, before they really understand.
But we're going to keep doing what we do. And we might have to step
welcome
it
the
up.
people back home. We're going to welcome the people back home because, Mo, you got to go find out what's out there before you can recognize the best.
I like that.
And Mo, they gotta go listen to the others. That's what makes us Mo. Real name, no gimmicks here.
That's facts.
Now go listen to the other stuff, and then when you come here, just like we appreciate you, you gonna appreciate us.
You know the damn vibes. Listen, I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Make sure you leave a review and a rating. And tell a friend to tell a friend, because we're going to keep doing what we do and the levels are going to keep going up and up and up. Okay, BJ, enjoy this weekend. Make the most of it. Get some rest because things are about to get crazy. But then we'll be back here Monday morning, nice and early, to talk play-in matchups. The standings will be set. We're going to be predicting the play-ins and breaking down those matchups to see who makes it to the playoffs. As always, thank you for tuning in. This has been the Hoop Genius Podcast. I've been Mo Mutsi alongside BJ Armstrong. Have a great weekend. Happy Ramadan to those celebrating. Stay strong. I'm hungry. I know you are too. And today, boy, I just got to tell you this real quick. Today, I've done an interview for Sky TV, an interview for NBA Europe. I've done a TV show for Sky TV, and then 3 podcasts. So hang in there, my brothers who are fasting, my sisters who are fasting. Keep your grind going. Power through. It's all about strength of the mind. Everyone else, blessings to you as well. Have a great weekend. And most importantly, get buckets.